Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I am back with 3 cards that I have created using the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month. It makes this really cute Christmas tree with lots of flowers, poinsettias, and berries on it. And then it has a little banner that reads the word joy. So like I said, I've got 3 cards for you today, and I'm going to be using the same mix of colors in all 3 cards. They are from, let's see, MFT, Whipped Cream, and Lemon Chiffon, Paper Tray Ink, Pure Poppy, Scarlet Jewel, and Spring Moss, and from Stamp Market, Bubblegum. I will also pull in some of the Spellbinders gold foil cardstock. So it's going to be a mix of all of those within the 3 different cards. So I'm starting out here with the first card, and this is going to be pretty much following the plan that they give us. So I have cut out the background from the light green, and then the sort of base for the flowers and berries is from the gold foil cardstock. And these fit perfectly in this tree, just adding a little bit of some art glitter glue behind those and then pressing them into place. And then that is how I will know where to layer up my flowers and berries as I place those on top. And lots of times with things that do have a lot of intricacy to them, I will use a stamp block to place some pressure and make sure everything is down the way that I would like it to be, nice and tight to that tree. Here I'm going to layer together the little roses. And for these, I decided to go with sort of a monotone. I really liked the look of the layers with that sort of cut cardstock on top, but kind of keeping it simple with just this one pink color. I'll go ahead and place these on my tree. Again, just a little dot of art glitter glue. So the larger of the 2 roses do actually have a cutout sort of shadow background there. You know exactly where to place them. And then the smaller 2 you're going to place on top of the leaves. And those I will save and wait to place down once I have all of my berries and the other flowers on top. So now I'm going to go through and add my berries. I knew there was a spot for that last one. Just took me a minute there to find it. And just using the back of my quick pick tool there to make sure those are all pressed down into place. Now these poinsettias are very specific to the shadows. There are 2 large and 2 small, but they are actually different in the way that the leaves are cut. So I am very carefully making sure that I'm getting each poinsettia the way that it is meant to be. And I will lay down one of them, add a little dot of art glitter glue there, and then press the other one into place on top. Now, I'm not yet gluing these down to my shadow layer there. I want to curl the ends of these flowers before I place them down, just to give a little bit of extra dimension. So for now, just placing everything where I know it should be. And then of course I've got my little yellow center there that I'm going to place down as well. these really were a little bit tricky. And it's once you sort of see the shape that you're looking for, there's sort of one specific leaf that once you find that leaf, you know that that's the one that will fit there. But it did take me a minute to get that all figured out. So now I'm going to round the leaves of these little poinsettias, and I am using, I call this my pokey tool. I use this oftentimes to pop my dies if they're stuck inside one of my die cuts. But anything round, you could use pencil. I like this one because it's tapered. It goes down to a point, so it's very easy to roll things on. And I'm just creating a little bit of dimension there. So when I place this onto the shadow layer, we'll have a little bit of a pop-up and those edges will curl under. Add a little dot of art glitter glue in the center there. Line that up and then press it into place. And I will continue to do that for the remaining 3. You will see one of these, I can't remember if it was the next to last one or the last one. One of my petals there, I pulled a little too harshly on and it tore off, but luckily I was able to save that, and I just added an additional dot of glue, and I will, you know, just sort of squish that in there, and you can't tell that it came apart. It fits perfectly right underneath that yellow center. And now that I have my poinsettias and my berries in place, I'm gonna attach these final 2 smaller roses. Just sort of wherever you think looks nice, you can place them on top of the leaves there. Alright, now it's time to put our card together. So I had a little roll of mint tape behind there to hold my tree in place as I was putting everything down. Here I have a panel of whipped cream cardstock, and I have gone ahead and embossed that using the Christmas wrap pattern embossing folder that was included along in this month's kit as well. I'm going to pop this up here using some of my foam dots. And I will press that into place. I should mention all 3 of these cards today are going to be A2 sized cards. Now for my sentiment here, you don't have to do this, but I like to do a background layer on my cutout. So that's 2 layers there of cardstock. I just feel like it makes it a little bit thicker, a little bit more sturdy, and it's easier to read that cutout sentiment. So layering those 2 together and then adding some art glitter glue and placing that at the top of my panel there. I will add some art glitter glue to the back of that panel, and I'm going to place this on a Nina card base. Of course, I've got my Nina paper, and this will be my insert. I'll add some ATG to the back of that, place that on the inside of my card base, and that will complete card number 1. All right, moving on to card number 2. So for this one, I am starting out with my background panel, and I have gone ahead and embossed that with the other embossing folder that was included this month. This one is the 3D folder, and it's called Adorning the Tree. So I have embossed that using the pink cardstock that is Bubblegum from Stamp Market. And this again is an A2 sized panel. So we are going to put our tree together, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently here. I'm not going to use the background. I'm just going to place these pieces together to create the inside leaf part of the tree. So this is basically the shadow portion that we're going to attach the flowers and the berries and everything to. So here I am putting together my flowers. This time I'm using a white and gold to create the flower, and of course I have the red for the shadow background. I'm going to be using the light green color for my berries, and then that deep maroon color for my roses. Again, these are very specific in how they fit together. So as you're cutting out your cardstock, if you're doing them, you know, in 2 different colors, you're going to want to make sure that you have the right ones cut in each color. I want to say by the 3rd card, I had figured out sort of the trick of looking for this specific leaf. But as I mentioned earlier, it did take me a minute to figure this out. All right, so skipping ahead here to spare you a little bit of that time placing the flowers together, I now have all those ready to go, and I'm going to add in my little green berries. So adding a little dot of our glitter glue there, and then I will use my quick stick tool here to get all of those into place. For my poinsettias, I decided I wanted to place those up on some pop dots. So I'm going to place those into their place as well. And then again for my roses, I decided to keep those in a monotone again. So you'll see I have cut both out in the same color, and I'm not going to include the center portion. I just really liked this being a solid color with the 2 layers of the cardstock. Again, using a double layer for my banner sentiment here, I'm just going to place one on top of the other. And I'll go ahead and add my roses down, the larger of the 2. So now we're going to place these pieces together to create our tree. Very carefully lining these up because I don't have my background to place them onto. They do fit together really pretty easily though. And I'm just going to move those around until I have everything in the shape of a tree. And we're going to use the sentiment as sort of our tree trunk for this one. So I want to make sure that everything is going to fit in there and it is fairly even. Once I have all that into place, again, I will add some art glitter glue on the back of these and press them down. And I decided it would be easiest to do all of the smaller pieces first and leave that larger piece to sort of work off of. I will add my smaller roses in place as well. And then we're going to finish up by adding that tree trunk. I will add some sticky thumb dots behind there. And pop that into place. Doing my best there to keep my top border and bottom border even from the top point of the tree and the bottom point of that banner. I'm going to add this panel onto a red card base. I always start by adding the side with the fold first because you can always trim off from the sides and the bottom. Again, grabbing my Nina paper insert, I'll add some ATG and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 2. All right, so for card number 3, you know I always have to try and do something different. So we are going to take the shadow panels from the tree and rearrange these to create a background for this card base. So I am using just the corner pieces and then the smaller rose piece and the branch with the poinsettia on it. So I'm layering these. Now, it did take me a bit to come up with this off camera because I really wanted this to fill the card and not have too much empty space. So I cut out the tree 3 or 4 times just so I would have lots of these to work with, and then just laid around placing them down on my panel until I came up with something that I was happy with. And I'm really happy with this. I think it's very pretty, just actually using the shadow layers, just that white and light green together. But of course, you know, I always want to do some extra, so we are going to add all of the flowers on top as well. But I wanted to give you a good look at how I laid this out, so if you want to copy it, you easily can. Going ahead here and just placing everything down with my art glitter glue, doing my best to keep it even and exactly how I laid it out. So now that I have everything glued down, I'm going to add my pop dots to place down my poinsettias. And these, again, I have put together off camera for you to make that go by a lot quicker. I'm going to start by adding in my roses. And I wasn't sure how many of these I was going to want to add in, so I am doing the larger ones. There was a place for 4 of those, and then I do have 2 extras. I think I only ended up using 1 of the extras because I didn't want it to be too overwhelming with all of the flowers and the gold berries. And the gold berries are what I'm going to add next. Okay, next we are going to add the poinsettias, and you'll see I have these sort of laid out, some off on each side. I've got 2 large and 2 small, so I know which are going to fit where. Just gonna peel off the back there and press all of these into place. All right, so I played around now with adding in these smaller ones. I always try to keep things sort of an odd number, so rather than having 6 of those, I decided to go with just 1 more that I'm going to add in of that darker color. And there I'm sort of planning out. I knew that I wanted to have my sentiment over here, so keeping that in consideration, that helps me decide I'm gonna pop that little rose right there. Then again, for my sentiment, I'm going to add some sticky thumb dots behind there as well. And I'm going to have that overlapping the pink poinsettia there. So I'm leaving the bottom of that open so that those pop dots don't get in the way. I'll add some art glitter glue to the back of that and place that on top of a maroon card base. Again, always adding to make sure that the fold of my card matches perfectly on one end. You can always trim around the other 3 sides. I'll add some ATG to the back of a Nina paper panel and place that on the inside. And that will complete card number 3. Just trying to give you a look at that dimension there. Here are a few close-ups of the finished cards. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I've used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.